people. I apologize profusely for having to do this if you were listening to the earlier one. I've been getting phone calls, and now the phone calls are done, and we are good to go. And I've brewed this too long, so this will be a great example of what exactly I want to talk about today, which is, of course, the difference between the Western taste point and the Taiwanese taste point when it comes to tea, and more in general, food in general. And what I have in front of me here is, I don't have a name for it yet. The people who watch these streams and the people who are part of the Discord and the Mountain Stream Teas community, anyways, the bunch of people who like to talk about tea and drink tea together, who are absolutely amazing, spectacular, wonderful people, oftentimes come up with a good name for teas. And if you listen to this, send me a message or put it in a comment, see if you can come up with a good name for this tea, because this tea is a really interesting tea. Now, this is a Phoenix Valley Shanlin Shi tea. I've already got one on the site, but this one is more suited to the local taste point. Now, what does that mean? Now, I've already done this once, so if you're joining in again and listening to it, then I apologize. But it's really good. I was on a roll, and then I got a phone call, and then and this isn't working again. So the audio got screwed up. But the difference between sort of the Western taste point, I guess, sort of like this, because Australia is included in the taste point, right? So you've got Canada, the United States, most of Europe, and then perhaps Australia, something like that. The food in those areas versus the food in Taiwan is fascinating in its difference and what people enjoy. Now, part of my job is figuring that out, right? I'd say a huge part of my job is actually figuring out which teas from here should I put on the site that are going to go fit the Western taste points, because the Western taste points are very, very, very different than the Taiwanese taste point. Classic example. If something goes rotten in the West, that taste, that smell, is basically the taste of stinky tofu. Sort of little bit poopy, a little bit rotten, meaty sort of a thing. That's kind of what it is. That's why people in the West, when they visit Taiwan and parts of China where there's the stinky tofu, that's why they have such a strong reaction to it. Here in Asia, it's obviously not sort of the stinky tofu taste, but what people consider as rotten, they actually say it. They say suan dia, zhe suan dia. What that basically means, it's gone sour. And so that sour note is not lemon sour, right? It's not lemon sour at all. The best way to think about it would be if you've ever left rice in a rice cooker for too long, that's the sour that they're talking about, right? That's the sour that they're talking about. Think about a cabbage left on a warm tray for like 2 days. That's the sour that they're talking about. That's it. And so when you're looking at the various flavors, there's not a lot of sour Taiwanese teas, are there? Basically, there's none. I can't think of one at all. There are, that particular taste point, you often get it in older teas, and people don't like it. Just people don't like it. Whereas in the West, if a tea has gotten, an aged tea has gotten a little bit sour, they don't care. They really don't care. Now, another tell, and when it comes to tea, this is probably the most important one, because you're not getting a lot of like lemony or stinky tofu styles of taste points with teas, which for me, who has to drink a lot of them, I'm not complaining. Like if I'm getting stinky tofu notes in a tea, I'm not going to be particularly excited about that. But bitterness is the key. Now, in Taiwan, there is literally a food that isn't daily, like people eat it daily. Every time you go to I'm losing all my English, jitsutan, which would be a cafeteria with lots of a buffet, You go to a buffet, there is always Kugwa bitter melon. And there's two different kinds. There's the white kind and the green kind. The white kind is a little less bitter. The green kind is like super bitter. And so they oftentimes mix it with salted egg yolks or salted duck yolks. And so you got this concoction that people from the West would never touch, and children in Taiwan also would never touch it. But bitterness is just a part of the Taiwanese taste point. It's actually considered healthy. So bitterness is considered healthy. Whereas in the West, it is not. Bitterness is usually not considered healthy. Now, why would that be? I would assume it's because unripe fruit, different things like that. And Western people are softer. But maybe I don't know. When it comes to bitterness, yes, they are. They're much softer. Lots of really healthy, good foods are bitter, and maybe it's just because I work in the tea industry, and sometimes I get the people who will say, "Oh, this tea is so bitter," and I'll just be like, "The honey fragrance black tea is bitter? What?" So maybe that's it. And the flip side of that, of course, is that the sweetness is, what's the best way to describe it? Sweetness here, there are children, adults who will literally say, "I don't eat sweet things," which I've never heard a Western person say unless they were watching what they eat for some reason. And so the sweeter teas, yes, they are the sweeter teas, but they're not really going for the sweet flavors when they're looking at these teas. Now, let's jump into this one. This tea right here is from the Phoenix Valley. It is a clean tea grown without agrochemicals, and it is the Taiwan. And what's really interesting about it is the vegetal is sharp. There's a bitterness and there's an astringency. There's a strength to this tea that the current Phoenix Valley Shanlin tea that we have on the site does not have. That tea that we have on the site, I purposely get that every year, and I purposely pick that tea because it's round, it's creamy, it's smooth, it's beautiful, and just sort of like this all the way through. Like it's got sweet aspects to it. It's got none of the flavors in it are edgy. Whereas this tea, just about everything about it is edgy. It is a strong vegetal. It is a strong floral. It is a strong sharpness. There's just a sharpness to everything in this tea. Just basically sharp all the way through. And it is the local taste point. This is oftentimes when I go to places and I get to sample teas and I get to try out different teas. This is one of the most common sort of taste point collections of taste points that I'm going to get, especially from the Shanlinchi area. Now remember too that the Shanlinchi area is one of those areas that's not really, like, it's not as famous as Alishan. It's not as famous as the Baozong even. Like if you're into Taiwanese tea, you know Shanlinchi, right? But if you don't know anything about it, you've heard of Alishan for sure. Maybe you've heard of Dongding. Maybe you've heard of Baozong, something like that. But you have not usually heard of the Shanlinchis or the Phoenix Valley teas. And the reason that is because most of the teas are consumed locally from that area. And like I said, generally speaking, they follow the Taiwanese sort of most common taste point. Now, here's a little trick if you're using sort of a gaiwan like I'm using right here. If you want to get a little bit more out of your leaves. So if you open up the gaiwan like this, you can sort of see, I'm going to bring this closer to the camera. here. Hopefully it doesn't drip on the computer here. You can sort of see at the top, the leaves are a little bit more, you can see at the top, the leaves are a little bit more compressed. What you do is you put it on this like this, and then usually, you know, I'm just drinking it, so I'm just gonna use my finger. You just go like this, and you flip it over, which means that those sort of compressed leaves that were at the bottom, now when I add hot water to them, they'll express themselves more, and you'll be able to get a little bit more flavor out of the tea. And my bee master, the guy who taught me how to raise bees, was the one who taught me that little trick. And so when you're looking at this tea, like that's why I was saying at the start, I need help with the naming of this tea, because I'm not going to call it Phoenix Valley Shanlin G2. I'm going to call it like local taste point, Taiwanese taste point. Maybe I'll call it Phoenix Valley Oolong in brackets, Taiwanese taste points. I don't know. Can I put that on the label? I don't know. I need a good name for this tea. I don't really know what to call it. It's a tough one, and it's also an experience for me. It's what's the best way to describe it? The longer I go into the tea world, and the longer I create this business and try and grow this business and go into the tea world and do these various things, the more I'm realizing that my own experience of the flavors of the teas and the teas themselves is extremely flawed. It's flawed, right? It's flawed. And it's flawed in the sense that it's just mine. There's so many times where I try a tea and I'm like, I don't think it passes, or I don't think it's particularly good, but it's unique, so I put it on there. And there's so many people that love the tea. There's so many people that go, this is the best tea ever. Wow, this is great. And it's got taste points that I wouldn't have thought would have been successful. And that being said, you know, the teas that I have on the site definitely are sort of mountain stream teas. They have a feel, they have a flavor characteristic that the people who buy tea from me oftentimes will say, you know, I tried other places and I just can't drink their tea. And that's all subjective, right? It's all subjective. But there is the objective point that all the teas that I sell on the site go through my sensory experience before they go out into the world, in the sense of being shared to all the people who might watch this video. And so I haven't done this in the sense of this particular taste point, this particular taste collection of taste points with this tea, because I didn't think that people would enjoy it, because it's stronger. It's much more bitter and astringent. It's got some edges to it. But that's not because they did something wrong. That's because that's exactly what they were going for when they made this tea. So when they made this tea, they were literally going for this taste point, because this is a taste point that a lot of, especially the older generation of Taiwanese tea drinkers, really, really like. They enjoy this taste point. They enjoy this style of tea. They enjoy drinking the tea, and they expect it from this area. And so I'll have this tea, the next release. We're already at the 15th of the month. It does not feel like we're already at the 15th. It has been the craziest 6 to 8 weeks for me and my family. We're coming out the back end of it, but oh my God, it's just been insane. Shanlin, Phoenix, so your Taiwanese taste point bros gets it. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I don't know what to. Maybe I'll just put Chinese characters at the top. Right? I'll just have it all Chinese characters. BK just placed an order. Thank you very much. And so maybe that's what I can do. I can I just have it all in Chinese characters. Maybe that's a good idea. Actually, that's actually a pretty good idea. That's actually a pretty good idea. That's actually a pretty good idea. Yes, as always, I love doing these live streams because the people help me out figure these things through during the live streams. It's the equivalent of having like a really good team in the office for brainstorming. I think I never have actually worked in an office in my life. There's one point when I was like 20 and I was working in Edmonton as a very briefly as a cell phone salesman. I had a cubicle. Very briefly. I had a cubicle like for like 2 weeks. That's the closest I've ever had to working in an office. But that's how I would imagine it to be if it worked well. You'd go into your meeting room. This is my meeting room, so thank you very much. But I think that's a good idea. So I can have it on the package Chinese, on the website Chinese, and then everything else in English below it. I think that's a great idea. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. It's going to be called 标准山林西乌龙, which means standard, typical, without the English connotation of standard and typical, like in a positive way, in a positive way. Again, a huge part of my job is cultural translation. But standard Shanlinshi oolong. Yeah, I think that's it. So there we go. Awesome. That's what we've done. We figured it out. Okay. What's next? I am going to be going to North America in the summertime. The tickets have been bought, and I might actually make it to New York City. But this time, I think I'm actually going to. I flirted with it over the years, and I think I will try and do a meetup in Toronto. I think I will actually try to do that as time progresses. I will try and do that. On the 18th of July, I'm going to see the baseball game with my boys. And so perhaps we can have a tea drink around noon right downtown. And so maybe we can figure that out. I don't know. I don't know how I've only been back to Canada like twice in the past 7 or 8 years. I don't know how nanny state it would be. I don't know. Could you actually like brew hot water with an open flame, in front of the Sky Dome? Would they allow that? I don't know. Or would they nanny state you? Something tells me that there would be a precedent that had been set, and it probably wasn't tea. It probably wasn't tea. But my guess is there has probably been a precedent set. But I think that's what we're going to do. So that's a soft. What's the best way to describe it? A soft reveal. I think that's a good idea. So around noon, maybe 11 a.m. on the 18th of July, right downtown Toronto, I'll brew some tea and I'll put it out there and see if there's anybody in the surrounding regions that wants to come and drink tea. I'll probably brew some old tree Taiwanese. I've got one thing of it left, and we can brew that tea there. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think that's official. I don't think there's anything that would ever stop me from doing that, other than whatever it is that might happen. So there's the 18th, and unfortunately, I think it's not particularly a good thing. The weather. The weather has been terrible. It has rained every single day, copious amounts of rain for the past 2 weeks. And so people who were relying on sunny, dry days for the bugs to come out, well, humid, but not pouring rain, for the bugs to come out and to bite the tea leaves so that we can get like honey type teas. We might be digested food out of luck. Unfortunately, very, 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 very unfortunately. And I hope that is not the case, but I do have some samples of some of the of stuff coming in. I'm going to go visit my friends in Rayshui and see if I can find some good bug bitten teas there over the next couple days. But it might be. So last year's Bug Bitten Beauties box was 2 Honey Fragrance Blacks and 2 Eastern Beauties with a Bug Bitten Mutza. And it might be the same box, except with this year's stuff. And I don't think there's people out there that are going to complain. Like those are beautiful teas. They taste great. But I was hoping that, oh, no. This year also, there's going to be the Shanlin Shi White. So the Shanlin Shi White, I've left some back because that for sure has been bug bitten. So it's sweetness to it. Yeah. So that's good. That's good. Never mind. There'll be a different tea in there. But it might be 2 of the Honey Fragrance Blacks and 2 of the Eastern Beauties. But that's okay. I think there will be enough tea. I think there will be enough tea. Anyways, let's throw it out there. Any questions for anybody out there? Any questions for things that I've covered so far? So unfortunately today we were cut at the knees by a phone call that messed up my audio, and I started both the YouTube and the Instagram again, but I covered everything that I wanted to cover. We got a name for this, or what we're going to do with this, and which makes me happy, right? It makes me happy we figured it out. Thank you for Alex for the help. Absolutely, it really does help. Thank you very much. Today, the goal is to pack up the rest of the Snow Pick Pear Mountain. I've still got some left, and I'm going to pack up the rest of it, and that'll be on the site. I'll add that in, and perhaps I'll have enough time to pack up the rest of the competition Baozong. If you like Baozong, the competition Baozong is spectacular. It really, really is. It's really, really good. It's not as good as the Old Master, but the Old Master is, something else. I mean, that's sold out in, I was only able to get about 2 kilograms of it. It sold out in like a couple hours. No, it sold out in 2 days. It wasn't a couple hours. It was 2 days. Because it's just such a, if you know type of tea. And yeah, that's about it. Last call for questions. I will start talking about the 18th of July in downtown Toronto. And I'll start thinking about, I had a cousin who worked, there's the Steam Whistle Brewery, and he worked as a forklift driver at the Steam Whistle Brewery. And I remember one year, many, many years ago, I went to downtown Toronto. And the Steam Whistle Brewery is, think about there is the phallic symbol, and then there is the Yanni, and right beside each other, downtown Toronto, right? So you've got the pagan, it's pretty universal, but the fertility symbols, and then there's like a circle right in front of it, which is like a park in downtown Toronto, and then you've got there's the Steam Whistle Brewery, which used to be where the trains were, and then actually right behind it is this little patch of green, and I'm not a big, I'm not a drug person, but it's but whatever, and he would go there for his breaks, and I remember one time I went with him for his break there, and they would smoke things that are now legal in Canada, and I visited him there. I was there for a minute, and then they went to that spot. So maybe I'll do like a Google Doc of that spot, because it's like this beautiful green patch, and you sit there, and it's like there's things here. Nobody ever goes back there unless you're like a service worker on your break type of thing. I've had 3 sessions with the competition grade Baozong. I really like it. It's a luxurious drink. It's a luxurious drink. I've had 2 sessions with the Snow Pig Pear, and maybe it's not for me though. Mr. Evans, high mountain oolongs should try in their life once, but well, the Instagram cut out there for a second. Anyways, it's been the everybody should try the snow-picked pear mountain. Absolutely, they should try it once because it's special. But I would say 75% of the people that try the snow-picked pear mountain, 75% don't know what to think about it. Glitching on YouTube as well, yeah. Anyways, we're back now. It should all work. The point what I was saying was simply that everybody should try the snow-picked. Everyone should try the snow-picked pear mountain because it is so unique. But the best way to think about the snow-picked pear mountain is ice wine. So you should, if you love wine, you should try ice wine once. Chances are you're not going to like it. Chances are you're going to look at the ice wine and you're going to try it and you'd be like, I can understand why people like this, but I don't. And that's like 75% of the people, and 25% of the people are like, this is the best experience I've ever had. And that is exactly the same with the snow-picked pear mountain. It is so rare, and it is so, what's the best way to describe it? It's so polarizing, but it's very hard to say that it's not good. It's polarizing. It's not bad. It's just, that's not for me. Right. But it's one of those teas that you have to have an opinion on it. If you are a true tea nerd, if you are a true connoisseur of the high mountain Taiwanese tea genre, you have to try it. You just have to, because it's the real deal. It's such the real deal. Anyways, I think that's it for now. I'm not going to push my luck with the internet live stream gods. Perhaps I was talking about things that I shouldn't talk about in the context of things that are legal in Canada but not legal in Taiwan. They actually put out a thing, and again, I'm not taking a stance on any of this at all. I know it's very whatever, but there was a new law that came out because anyways, it's a sad story, but there's a drug that's coming into Taiwan. But there was a law that came out that said if you go to a country where drugs are legal and you come back to Taiwan with the drug still in your system, you're going to jail. You're going to jail. And it came out and it freaked out a bunch of people. And then it turned out that only if you drove a car and they found the drugs in your system. So literally, if you went to somewhere where it was legal, and then you got on a plane, and then you got in a car right after you got off the plane, and then they caught you, then you'd still go to jail. Which, hey, fair enough. But I am. Anyways, I'm not. We're not doing that when we have a team meetup in Toronto on the 18th of July, before the baseball game. That is not happening. Period. Not happening. There we go. Anyways, wherever you are in the world, I certainly hope you have an amazing morning, night, and evening. Thank you for watching this rather disjointed live stream. I'll probably do another one this week. We've got a little bit more extra time on our hands than we did in the last little while. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next live stream.